Hi, I'm Roscoe, and welcome to EV Marketplace, our used EV show on a Wednesday night, 6:30. If you're here watching live on YouTube, thanks for joining us. And if you're watching a bit later on catch up on Facebook, thanks for tuning in. But you're at a used EV show, and we're here to talk about used EV deals, data, and discovery. And of course, for us, it's about the pure love of used EVs, and all brought to you by Amazing EV, our very own used EV marketplace. Talking to Sarah in the last few weeks and probably in the last 6 months or so, we really have had a chance to chat about different used EVs and different cars and new EVs. And her search is maybe self-acclaimed as being one of the longest test drives in car buying history. But we'll chat to her more about that. But it got me thinking about what she was looking for. And again, she'll describe what she was looking for and why and how. But there's a particular market that we sort of honed in on that is probably still waiting for a bit more demand and a bit more opportunity, a bit more choice. And that's the compact EV market. This sort of 4.3 meter length compact market, the old Volkswagen Tiguan size before everything grew up. And clearly there's a lot of big EVs on the road at the moment. We're seeing a lot of big EVs. And again, looking for a new car or a used EV in this sort of space is hard to find something. It's really hard to find a compact used or even new EV that fits the bill here. They're just getting bigger and bigger. So sure, there's been more recently a couple of smaller ones with the Dolphin or the AADA 1 coming out. By way of comparison, that's 4 meters, right? So 200 mils shorter. AADA 1, AADA 2 probably fits in here, but that's all brand new. AADA 3 was a fraction bigger again. Otherwise, you're looking at things like the Zeekr X, Smart #1, Volvo EX30, Kia EV3. Notice something about the first three. They're all pretty much from the Geely stable. I'm not saying they're the same platform, but similar sort of size there. So that's what's around at the moment. And again, all of them have got, maybe Cupra Born was a little bit subcompact there as well, but smaller again. So interesting to see what was around. And I started to have a look on the various sites around, see what was for sale. We've got nothing on the Amazing EV marketplace just at the moment, but I wanted to take you out to the break and give you an idea what's available out there in the subcompact land, because there's starting to be some pretty good deals. So check this out. Stay with us. Have a look at some of the deals on some of these subcompacts at the moment. There's a few out there. And then after the break, we'll be joined by Sarah. Can't wait. She's got the fantastic channel, Electrify This. No doubt you've seen her everywhere on Instagram and YouTube. Some great work about her home, her solar journey, her battery journey, and now her new EV journey. And Sarah, good evening and welcome to EV Marketplace.
Hello, Roscoe. I was just having a really good groove out there and looking at cars.
Yeah, I know, it's all about cars, all about deals.
Right.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And of course, everyone knows you from Electrify This. You're everywhere, and I love the work you've done. Love all the work on YouTube, all the Instagram, all the stories. We follow it closely, and you've probably driven more EVs than I'll probably ever drive. I think you've just about covered the whole marketplace.
I have to add up how many I've driven actually, because I don't actually know, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
There's only a handful that I haven't driven, other than very, very new stuff. Yeah, it's a
giving you a great idea. I guess you're giving you a great idea of what you do and don't want. But what was your EV aha moment? When did you realize that EVs were it?
It'd be about 12 years ago when I sat in my friend Dean's Tesla Model S, which he had I think it was like 160 grand. He's not a loaded guy. This was just so out of the blue for him to just commit. He's a nerd though, and he's a real tech head. So he just sort of had heard of this company and decided to buy this car. And I just remember I was sitting in the back and he went, check this out. And he demonstrated lift off. Oh my, when you're on a ride and your stomach lurches, it was like that. And there's a giant screen in the middle and it was just like, I was just like, this is like being in the future. This is space. This is crazy. This is so different to anything I've ever seen before. And that kind of speed, I was just like, I'm in. This is amazing.
And what was the first EV you ever drove?
Well, funnily enough, it was also a Tesla. Drove the Model 3 it was at the end of 2019.
Mm,
I took it for a test drive. That was back when they had the showroom at Martin
yeah,
Place. And it was
that's
all
right. Yeah,
awkward,
that's right.
taken down the back and like
Mm,
go up and have a drive. And he even came with me. And I remember
mm,
he sort of put on autopilot and went, yeah, check this out. You can like change lanes. And how amazing that was. I was like, wow. And I actually ordered one. I
right.
put my money down and ordered it for delivery in March 2020.
Yeah,
Something else happened around that time. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe a global pandemic, and I ended up cancelling my order. So if COVID hadn't happened, I don't know. Well,
I
maybe I'd
know.
still own it. A 2019 Model 3.
When you think about that now, having said that, it's remarkable how well they did do through 19 and through 20 as well with sales as well as they built up.
Yeah, they kept
They
going.
may have done it a lot better if you took that into the equation completely. But yeah, that must have been some hindrance for people. No one was driving anywhere, so yeah.
No, it would have just sat out the front of the house, and it's too hard basket.
And after all this time, you've jumped in, and we're not going to reveal it just yet. So it's out
It
there,
only
but
took me another 6 years to actually buy an electric car. Oh, God.
there's a lot happened. There's a lot happened in 6 years in the EV world since we had a
Yeah,
choice of two or three or four about 5 years ago. So yeah,
yeah.
but in that time, yeah. So why did it take you so long? Do you think?
Why did it take me so long? I think because was a few reasons. Money. I think I lived without a car for a couple of years. I sold my
Yeah,
car well over 2 years ago. It was a Fiat 500. I literally went as small as I could in went on the green vehicle guide to try and find what's the least worst ICE car I can buy. Back then, I mean, even then, there wasn't a huge amount of choice. I would say it was, Tesla,
yeah,
Polestar, MG, and I don't think we were quite ready to buy. To be honest, the biggest reason why we haven't bought, even though I would have bought back 6 years ago, is that we don't have a driveway, and so
yeah,
thinking about where we would charge and all that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously, the Tesla worked its magic on me that I didn't care, but
yeah.
I would have cared at some point. I don't know. I think, yeah, a couple of things: money,
Yeah,
and not being able to charge at home. Honestly, if I had a driveway, I would have bought many
yeah,
years, no question about it. And I was waiting for a hatch. We're hatch
yeah,
drivers. It's really frustrating because so many of the vehicles they're either SUVs or they're now very big SUVs. And I live in the inner west of Sydney, where 67% of households
yeah,
can only park on the street.
yeah.
That's a lot of people. And I've just really noticed as well, I mean, we have a lot of small cars on the streets around here,
Mm.
and they're all 10, 15 years old. So there is a
Yeah,
demand for small cars in areas like this because this is why I loved my Fiat so much, because it would literally
yeah,
park that thing anywhere I could and then wouldn't care. And it was brilliant for that. And so there's a lot of small cars, but I've noticed that a lot of people who are now replacing their cars, for example, my
yeah,
neighbours replaced their Mazda 3 with a Tesla Model Y. So every
yeah,
car is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and
yeah.
they're complaining more and more about lack of parking. It's like, well, everything's growing by 30, 40, sometimes 50 centimetres, and there's a reason why that's happening. And then around here, there's actually things like BYD sharks that are just vanity wagging. It's like taking up 3
So,
parking spots. I'm like, is everyone wondering why there's no
yeah.
parking anymore?
That's-
So yeah,
and
there's probably a few reasons, but mostly because we wanted a hatch, and there's just hardly any choice.
And so you drove a lot of cars through media loan. So I mean, you had one, and you had one in particular, without mentioning the name, but
Yeah.
that helped obviously narrow the criteria down. You start to, apart from the wine bottle fitting in
I
various
mean, that's
places,
essential.
you had some other criteria as
Who
well.
I am. One of my very sophisticated scientific reels is always about, I've purchased my bottle of wine, I need to transport it home and drink responsibly, and where do I put it on my journey
Yeah,
home? It's a very important first world problem to resolve. And, it's just a fun way of showing the storage in the front of the car that actually is something that people do think about when they get in their car with a bottle of wine.
because there were a couple of contestants in that selection that I mentioned before, and this was a car I really loved as well, and I think you've liked it at some stage as well.
I loved this car. So in fact, my review was, this is my car. I just can't afford it. Because I am someone who loves Scandi design like you wouldn't believe, and minimalism, and everything about this car screams me. But I did think that there were a few things missing. Well, for the price, I do think that there were many things missing from it, like an electric roof shade. I think it should have had a head-up or an instrument cluster, just because that central screen is quite far over, unlike the Tesla. But, it has your heart. You just get in and drives so well. I really loved it. I only drove the rear-wheel drive, the middle variant, but it's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, and in that sort of category as well, I mean, the Smart Hashtag 1 on paper, to me, is a really interesting car, because it's
same platform, same factory that they come out of. Well, they actually do come out of the same factory as does the Zeekr S.
Thanks for confirming that, because I had suspected that, but I wasn't sure. So
they all drive quite differently. I didn't like, and that car doesn't sell as well as the Hashtag 3.
Yeah.
I think the Hashtag 3 is a much more successful design. The interiors of all their cars are really, really nice. In fact, a friend of mine just bought a Hashtag 3. I just hashtag so dumb.
Can you blame a name for not buying a car? Is that
people go, why are you saying hashtag? I'm like, no, it really is. Isn't it a number? I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends whether you like that very Mark Newson organic swoopy design, which not everyone does. I like that sharper look. Which the Zeekr X is kind of in between those two. It's a little bit angry and a little bit cool. But all three of those cars, there it is, with this little moustache. I think all three of those cars are overpriced for the range that they have. I think if they had LFP batteries, I wouldn't mind so much that they've only got about 450 k's of range. But NMC, I'm like, again, most people, if you're charging at home, that doesn't matter, but I can't. So, I can run my cable out to the street, but with a footpath cover and a footpath license, I don't know if that will exist forever. So, I am always kind of thinking about going to public chargers and when I'm going to charge a lot less with my new car. But I just wish that they had either a little bit more range or an LFP battery. They're all great cars, though. I particularly love the software in the Zeekr. I think it's really good. And the interior, it's kind of got a lot of the stuff that's missing from the Volvo, and it's a bit cheap as well, which is good.
I haven't driven a Zeekr, but I've driven the other two. And Volvo EX30, that new EX60 coming out, again, if they've got to just try and price it right, because I think that there's a premium for those cars. Very cool inside. Love the style. Love the styling. But it's got to get back to.
You're paying for a name with Volvo. And I don't know, I think there's a bit of stuff missing from it. I think it had more of the stuff that was in the Zeekr. It would be fairer. I think the Zeekr is actually quite well priced. If you can pick up a demo of that, it's around 50 grand. So good.
They sharpened that up. They sharpened that up a lot, didn't they? Before they brought out the 70.
It's a shame it's only got 7 kilowatt AC charging in that base model, and I think you can only get the 11 kilowatt AC charger maybe in the all-wheel drive, or maybe there's a package you can get, I think, for the mid-spec, but I still don't. And it's a thing, like, a lot has happened in that last couple of years with 7 to 11 kilowatt AC charging, which I think, again, for someone like me who'd be utilizing pole chargers, that actually makes a difference. And I wouldn't buy a car with 7 kilowatt AC charging now, as someone who can't charge at home. I would have loved to have bought something that had 22 kilowatt AC charging. I used the pole charger and demonstrated the Zeekr 7X and just charged for an hour and 10 minutes and added 180 k's of range while I went off and had a coffee. And I'm like, yes.
Again, for anyone watching, I wasn't never going to talk about chargers and charging stations, but I'll make an exception for charging poles, right? Because I'm a fan of these as well, and they are everywhere around Sydney now. In a city, Sydney.
We do need more of them. We definitely need more.
Yeah, but they are sprouting. They are sprouting up everywhere. Suddenly, you see a pole, and there's so. one of the great innovations. I'm not sure. Again, different companies are, and I'm not going to promote those. Different companies are doing things in that regard. But yeah, fantastic. But come back to the range again.
Do reel me, and I will wander off and just waffle, please.
No, just that criteria that you're looking for is the 450. If you get 450, you can charge up once a week. Is that on your sort of style? Is that the rationale there?
Well, it was. I mean, I've still opted for a car with ridiculous range because originally my partner was driving 200 k's a week. So, and that's now completely changed. So the car will probably just sit there now, and I'll probably have to do it once every 3 weeks to a month, which would be fine with me, but a big thing for us is that we drive to Newcastle a lot. So I've driven up and back in that particular car and not had to charge, which is actually really nice.
No, that's a must-have. If you've got a destination you go to regularly, you got to go there and back and not muck around, not stuff.
And I don't want to steal. My mum has a charger at her place, but I feel weird stealing energy from a pensioner. It's just not right. So she's not with Amber or something like that with me, and she doesn't have a battery. So I'm like, come on, Mum. I will if I have to, but I don't try not to make it.
Speaking of energy, you have done a lot of other projects, and a lot of them appear on your YouTube. But check them out, everybody, because you've done some great work. And since I've known you, that you've changed your house to something that wasn't energy efficient to something that is incredibly energy efficient now. And there's been several steps in that process that have been really significant, and part of that's getting a battery. Part of it's well, you tell them what are the most important things that you've done that have really saved you some money or made you money.
Well, the house had a mixture of electricity and gas. It's a Federation home. It was very leaky, and I set about at the end of 2022 to retrofit it, and I managed to do it in about 3 months. The vast majority of the house. We put in a very small solar array because we couldn't, because we've got slate for most of the house and then just a bit of tin. We were able to put a 4.7 kilowatt array on the house. We improved the roof, or topped up the roof insulation, put underfloor insulation, replaced the glass in the windows with a double laminate. So they still look the same like sash windows, but that's helped with noise because we're not far from the airport as well. So thermally, it definitely helped. So got rid of gas from inside the house, induction stove, replaced the gas hot water with a hot water heat pump. And then we had really ancient, like 15-year-old ducted air that the previous owner had put in, which made it impossible to do anything under the house. It's so dumb. I can't believe they even managed to put it in. But this thing was well past its use by date. Usually that ducting lasts about 12 years. We'd had it repaired a couple of times. That very large compressor had died at least once and had the motor, so it was done. So then we replaced it with single wall splits, reverse cycle aircon in different rooms, and that was kind of where we were then at the beginning of 2023. And at that point, I was still with PowerShop, and I watched our energy consumption in winter drop from 42 kilowatt hours a day to 12 the following year, so a quarter of the electricity essentially. Which is amazing. I've got this chart that just goes and then a tiny little bump the following year, which is brilliant. And
that was pre-battery. That was pre-battery, yeah.
Pre-battery. So then March last year, in fact, the day after Everything Electric finished, just like I hadn't done enough working on that show, I got my battery the next day, put in a 24 kilowatt hour SIG Energy battery, and I have not had an electricity bill since. And the week after I installed my battery, the federal rebate was announced, and I was like, no. And so I was like, damn this. And so when that came in at the beginning of July, I was like, I'm going to make my battery bigger, and I'm going to use that rebate. And so I used the rebate to, I mean, it is so tall now, my battery. It is a 48 kilowatt hour battery. And partly I did something so big kind of as an experiment. I couldn't give up that opportunity, but also because we don't have a driveway, we can never do vehicle to grid. We can never do anything like that. So I just thought, we'll give it a red hot go. And as I said, like even with the 24 kilowatt hour battery, we were probably after that first winter with Amber being on the wholesale market and playing price spikes and selling, although a couple of those big spikes kept going and going, and I had to like pull out and be like, no, I've got to save some of that energy. And it wasn't quite enough. And I was like, well, a little bit more actually would be quite good.
Have you still got a discount? You got an affiliate code for Amber or not?
No. Actually, I do have a code. Hit me up. I'll totally give you a code. Anyone will, not just me. And so basically I made $440 in 2 nights during one of those spikes. I was $1,200 in credit by the end of that, like kind of the end of that,
Mm.
kind of the beginning of spring actually.
Amazing, yeah.
And now I think I've not, again, not had a bill. So let's imagine the savings over this entire year have probably been a couple of grand that I've not had to spend. So immediately, let's not knock that off the battery. But I'm $3,600 in credit. Now, some of that, bear in mind, is the promo codes that, you know, people hit you up for it. Probably about a grand of that is, but a very big chunk of that is not. So yeah, I mean, your return on investment when you have a bigger battery and you're with someone like Amber and you can sell into the grid and take advantage of that, which I really love. I think that's kind of the point, right? We decarbonize the grid at the times when everyone really needs it. You put your clean energy. When obviously my solar array is not big enough, so I buy in the middle of the day at 8 cents a kilowatt hour in summer, and it's a mix of solar and what you can buy for the grid. But the grid goes like 75, 85. I've even seen 95% renewables in the middle of the day sometimes. And then I will sell it in the evening. And you have to empty your battery anyway. So you have to sell because you need to make room for more solar the next day. So you are always covering it.
It is amazing,
I can't talk about the data yet because it's not a full year, but I'm doing all right.
No, that's amazing. No, I look forward to that update because for anyone out there, check out Amber. You get all the peaks and the troughs, don't you? But you can sell you can sell high, buy low, basically. Yeah.
Do not go with them unless you have a battery. Do not go with them because I'm in time of use, and in the evenings it goes to 60, 70 cents even just normally. And then at times it goes to $20 a kilowatt hour. So that's great if you're selling and you can buffer yourself and you're not buying energy, but you'd have to be kamikaze to just like do it. Just turn everything off and leave the house when there's a price spike on.
Imagine that, trying to describe that to someone 5 years ago. It would be inconceivable that this would even be a possibility, right? That's how quickly and how far we've come.
Well, you just realise in the middle of the day, you know, the government are going to offer us 3 hours of free energy. Like people would be able to fill their batteries with that. But you just like, if you look at when you're on the wholesale market, you can actually see what the prices are. And prices go negative. So it would be costing retailers money for that excess solar to go into the grid. So it makes sense that we've got so much surplus, at the very least in summer, and probably the majority of spring and autumn, maybe not winter, but they would.
I know, electric cars make so much more sense. And hey, I'll stop, and I was looking sideways just to see if we've got any questions for Sarah.
Anyone want to know anything?
Mrs. Amazing is handling my messaging replies for me this evening. She's thanks, Josephine. She's at home. So if there's anyone got any questions for Sarah about Amber, pitch them in. Try and acknowledge them in the next 20 minutes or so. But
for all those people not watching.
No, I think we've got about 1,500 people online at the moment, so it's quite amazing.
Really?
So
That's a lie. You're such a liar.
we're pretending like there's 1,500 online. I don't mind.
Let's just make stuff up.
I'll find out eventually. That's fine.
Absolutely no questions. Oh, well, isn't that nice?
They'll find you. They'll find us.
Stan. Hello, Stan.
Stan's there.
Episode very much. Congratulations on 7X.
Yeah, and good choice, Stan. You're doing some great work, and the video numbers are fantastic. You're getting some great views. That's brilliant. Master stroke. So that's brilliant.
She's loving it. Sick. All that extra room. And the vehicles alone.
Before we get to the big reveal, and again, some pluses and minuses. The new, the final decision. You've always done
it very nearly was a Tesla. I was a toss-up between this car and the Model 3. I'm not going to lie.
I was going to say, you were overly impressed with the Model Y, the new Model Y. I was quite surprised.
No, it wouldn't have been the Model Y. It would have been the 3, just because it's
you would have gone the 3.
Greatest car I've ever driven in terms of driving dynamics, even though it's wildly impractical and too big. That car does something to me. They loaned it to me.
Without being boringly data-ish, some of that data about the rise of the small SUV, middle SUV market, and the fall of the sedan market just bears out where the market's going, unfortunately, on the second-hand market, because the demand's there as well. Right. It's following it. it's following it. And so I think it was always brave for Tesla to bring out a Model 3 as one of their first mainstream cars, because the sedan market was always drifting away and SUVs were always on the up. But they know what they're doing most of the time, and I'm a proud owner of a Model Y, so to clear my interest.
They should have made it a liftback, but then that would have affected their Model Y sales probably. But
yeah, just that deal, that discount on the extra incentive on the threes means that they're still not going that well. But as I say, I don't think the sedan market is doing that well either. But that's another story. You've always done three things you like and three things that you don't like as much.
I usually more than 3 or 4.
Wrap those up into the top 3 things that you don't like as much
About
in the cars that you've driven.
About cars I've driven, I don't like that they've gotten so big. I don't like that they're nearly all SUVs. And I don't like that cars aren't fun anymore so much.
Yeah.
Like, I just want cars that like have happy faces and are fun. Like my Fiat was fun. I really love that.
Yeah.
Like the Insta made me happy, even though hardly anyone's buying it. It doesn't matter. It's just super cute and fun and made me happy. And I just was like, it had this amazing cream and houndstooth interior, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. And I just want some personality. I feel like cars have got to be safe. And but in saying that, in terms of things that I've liked, I did like that about the Insta, its size, but I've been really excited to see things in the Zeekr 7X, like that camera, which I call Bindi Cam. We'll call it Cam tonight. With the camera on the pillar that looks on the back seat, so you can keep an eye on your kids or your dog. And I just go, that is ingenious. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, surely every car should have that. And one of the other things that I loved was when I first saw the Geely EX5 and saw the drawer underneath the back seat, I was like, what? Oh my God, that is so brilliant. And so I noticed on the Zeekr that it had 2 drawers, and I was like, yes, they brought back the drawer again for that car, which is great. So those little things that kind of make you really go, love that. Like, it's really nice. It doesn't happen a great deal. And probably the other thing that I liked, which was an aha moment in the same way that those other 2 experiences I had were, was experiencing full self-driving for the first time.
Yeah.
And that car driving me, the Model Y driving me from Sydney to Newcastle and then Newcastle to Sydney, but taking me on the way back because I needed to use the Tesla supercharger in Tuggerah, drove me to the supercharger and I refilled. And I was just like, what? So that was kind of bonkers. Yeah.
That is freaky. I know. I know. I haven't driven the full self-driving yet. I don't know if anyone watching's driven the full self-driving yet, but everyone's just amazed by it. So
is that squeaky noise you or me?
I've had people say I'm going to buy one because I can half switch off on the way to my commute to work. I've had people say I'm sick of getting speeding fines and it will keep the speed limit and I don't have to get frustrated or worry too much. I'll just let it go, phase half out and just let it stick to the speed limits. I've had other people who've driven them and just gone, it's just drive around and just get on mentally with some other stuff, right?
It's again in the way that the Model 3 made me just go, cars are never going to be the same again. That again made me go, cars are never going to be the same again. Like, this is next level crazy. And I felt wildly relaxed, which also worried me. I was like, wow, I'm just so trusting this, but we'll see. But there's been lots of things that the position of the charge port is one of my constant frustrations. I know that if it's over the front driver's wheel arch, if you can charge at home, it's absolutely no problem and it's great for DC charging, but to have it for also being good for curbside charging, the rear passenger side is the best spot for it. But actually, I just picked up the Toyota BZ4X and it's over the front passenger arch, which is terrible. I mean, again, that's good for curbside charging, terrible for DC charging. It's like, oh no. Actually, I think I'd opt for it over the driver's arch over that. But anyway.
Yep. So you've got a BZ4X at the moment. So
yeah, I just picked it up. Yeah. today.
A little bit.
Don't
That'll
ask
be
me.
interesting. Is that, have they've done they've done a minor upgrade on that? Yeah.
Oh, it's quite major, the upgrade. It's got a lot more range now, and
Okay.
it's cheaper. So I think the two-wheel
Well,
drive apparently has
that'll
about
be interesting.
571
I
horse.
look forward to seeing that. Yeah. Have you seen the Subaru or had a chance to?
Well, I hadn't actually reviewed the BZ4X, but I had
Okay.
reviewed the old version, yes, the Solterra,
Mm,
which is basically the same car.
yes.
And two things I said about that car was that it was overpriced and didn't have enough range. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
they have resolved that issue. And in fact, when Toyota asked me to review the old one, I went, I'll wait for the new one because it's too expensive and needs more range. So,
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. Don't say anything at all, please. Right.
well, I don't know. I look at I think one of the reasons people like following me is because I'm just honest about
Yeah.
because I'm not paying. I'm not paid for this, so there's no advertising dollars to protect. So
Mm,
I care very much about the consumer,
yeah.
and especially with brands like that are so popular and so established, people would
Exactly.
buy a car, an EV from them because it is a Toyota or a Subaru, and
Mm,
I'm glad. I wish that this iteration was their first EV. That would be
yeah.
ideal. But I'm glad. I'm actually really glad to see that they've fairly quickly gone and refreshed that car so that it,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Before
made
we
it.
get before we get to what you did buy and why, just to snap one on the BYD AADA one. What are your thoughts? Driving or looks? Mm,
Well, I don't know why the Atto 1 and Atto 2 haven't been on the press fleet yet. So I haven't driven the Atto 2, but I
yeah.
got sick of waiting and I went into the Alexandria dealership and just went and test drove the Atto 1
Yeah.
because like, I want to drive that car.
It's got the moustache in the front too, right? It's got the
I think some
someone
people say
pointed
it
that
looks
out
like
on one of the channels. Car Source, I think. It's got the moustache in the front as well.
yeah, I mean, it's cute.
Hmm.
It's
It's okay.
it's really good to see.
I don't like the style. it's not for me.
Someone said
It's
at the
not for
front
me.
maybe looks like a Lamborghini. I don't really know those kind
Yeah.
of cars very well, so I don't know. I love the size. I love that they brought a car that
Yeah.
small, and I love the price. I wish maybe I don't even know if they really needed to bring that cheapest one in with that little
Mm,
range. What is it, like 220 or something?
yeah.
Um, I wish it had maybe just a tiny bit more range. I think, if you're trying to convince people that that's your second car and if you can charge at home, it really is no problem. I thought
Yeah.
it did have quite full on blind spots at the back there in the corners,
Mm,
and there's no blind spot monitoring. So I was a bit like,
yeah.
oh, we want to maybe keep an eye on that. You put your foot down though, and it's quite fun. It's
Yeah.
that's something I noticed. I did notice because it's front wheel drive, kind of wish it was rear wheel drive. Going over the potholes of the inner west, it could skip a little bit over some of
Yeah.
those crappy roads. But I mean, it was fun, and it's a second little runabout car, like super cool. And we need more of that, as far as I'm
And
concerned.
that's right. And if the Insta was 30 grand, yeah.
Well,
No,
apparently
no
the
brainer,
base
right? Yeah.
model Insta is going for about 30 grand. In fact, I know someone who just picked one up for about 28.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they've probably realised at Hyundai that they need to now cut the price on that because of the Atto 1, which is good because I want to see. I've only ever
Yeah.
seen one of those in the road and it looks super cool.
Like to
Um,
see more of those. Again, smallish market, but yeah, they'll do well on the second-hand market as well. There's no doubt. I think
yeah.
they'll do even better on the second-hand market when they start to come through,
Yeah, but
because then
as I
they'll be
said, we do have the demand for small cars, but they
yeah,
are like my Fiat cost 10 grand, and
yeah,
it was like a 10-year-old car when I sold it. I had it through, so it was about 7 years old when I bought it.
yeah,
All the cars around here, people would be paying something like that for their cars. They're cheap to run. You park them anywhere. They're cheap to serve. They're just good little efficient cars.
mm.
But I think if we could get some of those Chinese cars that are small and that are 10 grand, I think you
Yeah,
would definitely find a market for them,
oh, yeah,
especially if we had more chargers on poles in areas like this where charging, then you'd just be like, oh, plug it in there.
yeah.
I
We'll
think,
get the Geely with what's the
yeah,
EX2. We'll probably get the Neo. Yeah, therell be a couple more. They'll
well, we're
come into
definitely
that
getting
market.
the Geely. That's coming in the second half of
Mm.
2026.
The-
That's confirmed. And I drove that car in China. It's rear-wheel
yeah,
drive, so it was very fun. I mean, I only drove
yeah,
around the car park with some cones, but I did go, had some fun. And it's very, very fun little car to drive, and it had a good size frunk, bit of plastic. It had like the JQ J5 that I just drove. It had a USB-A port in the back, which was just Strange. When it has that C and an A in the front, I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
Really, but otherwise, I mean, it's a neat little car. I'm not sure
So
what it
much
would be
information,
for
so much
people.
information, so much customer feedback, and yet still some strange
No,
decisions. But
I
anyway,
think it's just
let's.
that's what
And
it
I
was.
asked Mrs. Amazing what her favourite car is. Still the 500e. So
Is
it's
it?
if that
I loved
if
that
that
car. It was
if that was
really.
10 grand cheaper,
I mean, the
that'd be
Avance was very fun and stupid, but
yeah,
and I did feel like it was almost like too much power. But I
yeah,
thought the Fiat was
yeah,
enough. Then it felt like it was because I had it after that. I think, and again, that car is fun and brings joy and
yeah,
will make you smile, and you
yeah,
feel really cute driving around in it. And it gives you a feeling, and I like that about cars.
yeah,
I think it's probably because my favorite car in the entire world is the old Mini, and my grandmother had like three of them, and I learned to drive a car. I learned to drive a manual properly on that car,
mm,
one of those cars, and it was just. And I, as a person, I fit that car perfectly. She had a racing wheel on her last one, and I was just like poodling about around Wales and the UK in that, like down country roads, like a hoon. And it's just that I love that feeling when a car makes you feel that way. And
yeah.
weirdly, the Model 3 does that to me. When I like the new Model 3, it just hugs you and you feel like you're part of the car, and it just feels great.
It certainly sounds like you've bought a Model 3, but I know you haven't.
I did not. They're pretty keen that I would. I was like,
And it's not a Tesla
oh,
promotion. It's not a Tesla promotion, Model 3 promotion night either.
no.
We'll put you, I've got Graeme Manietta from Oz Electric Vehicles on next week because we're going to swing in another direction back to do some work with EV conversions and battery changes and keeping
Oh,
some of these cars on the road. He's done a lot of work with the iMEVs and this and Leafs, and he's done some conversions as well. But maybe he might be able to find you a mini conversion. Some of those ones I've seen from some of the business companies are
I
absolutely
just
outstanding.
really wish that I had the kind of brain that could do that.
I know.
Honestly.
Just to
But I
spare 100 grand for a mini EV
100% do
conversion.
not. Yes, I think I asked Jaunt, hey, how much would a Mini cost? And then I nearly died when they told me. So I was like, wow,
Yeah,
that is
that's all right.
never going to happen.
But at least you're keeping a car on the roads. But so,
Mm.
without any further ado, let's have a look at the worst kept secret in the in the whole world. Sarah's new car and
It's not that
what made.
color. That's the matcha grey.
Well, I don't want to reveal exactly what color is in case you compromise your personal security. But that's
No,
a
I
very
showed a video of my car. I was like, here it is. A big reveal.
very close, a very close facsimile. A very we had the silhouette up before. We've alluded to it, but what made you finally go for this one?
Um, well, probably because they loaned me one of them for 6 months and I didn't get sick
Yeah,
of it and I really liked it. There's a few reasons. The range is the big thing. I got the mid-spec Earth variant, and 563 kilometers of range is good. And I just
yeah,
didn't. I mean, I had the GT line from them on loan.
yeah,
Um, I just didn't think about charging it. I wasn't worried
yeah,
about it, and I could drive to Newcastle and back without charging. And I was like, this is easy. And I particularly love when your car gives you a feeling. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't necessarily have chosen crossover. There's things about the car I don't like. Don't like the door handles. Don't like the position of the charge port. I I just love that Kia went, you know what? We are just going to go for it. We
yeah,
are just going to go. This is our electric car range. They're all going to be cohesive, and it's going to be
yeah,
like future car. We're going to go back to the 1980s and ask a 1980s car designer, hey, if you could design a car, an electric car in 2025, what do you think it would look like? And
yeah,
that's what I think they would come up with. It's a little bit 80s, a little bit space, a little bit something. And I just go, it's cool. Like, it's just,
yeah,
like, I don't know. It's polarizing. Not everyone likes it, but I just, especially from the back, it's got a very nice back. The lights look
yeah,
really good. And I actually think out of all of their ranges, I actually think it's the most successful. I think they've kind of taken, started with the EV9 or the EV6, then the EV9, then the EV5, and I feel like they really
yeah,
nailed it. It's a little bit softer on the front.
yeah,
And I had to get, so I went to the launch of this car, and I remember getting in it and driving from the airport to the hotel, and I went, this could very well be my car, because I just felt good in it. And when I saw them all lined up together and I saw the earth with the orange interior, I was like, man, shut up. Whoever thought of that? That is just the coolest little pop of fun and color. And I'm not someone who would buy a car colorful on the outside and super boring. But when I saw that, I
What
went, that is cool. That
what's
is
the
cool.
range again? There's three models in the range, right? What's
So
the
there's the Air standard range, which I think is It's 400 something, 400
Yeah.
something.
I was going to say Earth, Wind and Fire, but it's not Earth, Wind and Fire, is it? So
No, no, it's
that's the
Air,
band. That's the
Earth,
band.
Air, Earth, and
That's
GT line.
the group. Yeah.
So the Air comes in the standard range and the long range. The long range Air is the Air long range, and that people are screaming at me right now. And the GT line and the Earth all have the same size battery, 88.1 or something like that. But the Air long range has the smaller wheels. It has 17-inch wheels, so it's 603 kilometers of range. And then the GT line and Earth have the 19-inch wheels, which I just wish I could have the choice and have those smaller wheels. But anyway,
Yeah.
you can't
So,
do that.
so
And
you've
that's
got
563.
so you got Earth, which is the middle of the range. It's got the bigger wheels, longer range. Yeah. And the next one up, GT
And
line.
apparently, so I picked the Earth as being like, even when I looked at my review, the car that I reviewed from Kia, because I went, like, I asked them, they said, well, what color do you want? What variant? And I said, well, can I have it in that color? And can I have this one, please? And so that ended up being the exact car that I bought, because I just loved that particular combination of color and the interior and that spec.
Yeah.
But that's actually not the most popular one. So the very, very base Kia standard range, because it's less than 50 grand, and the GT line, which is the top spec, are the two biggest sellers, or at least they are at the Kia Sydney dealership. So I was like, wow, I just fell off the mark. I'm just completely wrong. So there you go. So that's my car. I haven't had it very long. I've only had it, about a week, nearly a week, or not even a week. But I do, and it comes with the vehicle to load adapter, which I actually think is.
You got that with it, the vehicle to load?
Yeah,
so that's it.
Which is great. I mean, they're like $500. So, and it does have space for a space saver tire, which is great. I think some people even manage to fit a full size tire in, which again is quite rare in EVs, that you've even got space to put one. A little baby frunk, but it just brings me joy. It's fun. It's really fun.
And this is the interior you got, right?
That's the interior, exact interior. It's called the warm grey. A warm grey. And I just love it. And every time I look at the orange bits, it makes me happy.
And that's the whole essence of what we're doing here. So that is the absolute essence. Sarah, let's leave it on that incredibly happy note. Congratulations.
I've just pulled your head off, haven't I?
That's brilliant.
Actually, I'll say one more thing before I go.
Yes.
The other thing I really loved about the Kia was that it has a fantastic mix of buttons and screen, and that the software is just really simple and straightforward. But buttons, buttons, buttons. And when I got into that car on a 40-degree day, just being able to go fan, 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 and then temperature, just really quick. And I was like, having to go in the screen and do all that stuff. So I was really happy about that. There you go.
Hal says, looks awesome. Great. Stan says, great choice. So thanks, guys. And just a bit of a disappointment about the EV show. I think, it was tough. The first day was okay, and then the second day I actually thought, I am disappointed, but because I was looking forward to seeing everybody, and it is a central focus.
It is a social get together. I mean, I'm one of the hosts, so I was getting all organised and all sorts of stuff, but
there was no advance warning.
Again. Look, to be perfectly honest, I've got a lot going on, so I was like, it's actually quite good that it's being pushed a bit, but it's just a shame.
Yeah.
Because
congratulations on the new car.
It's going to get rid of me now. What do you think, everyone? Shall I just really annoy him and stay on? So
you can stay on. I can just. Like central control here.
Amazing as well. Hello.
I'm hoping for more views than Carl Stefanovic. That's my aim. He only got 100,000 views on his first podcast. So we're just trying to. Hopefully, we're aiming high. So that's fun. He wants to be the next Joe Rogan. So look, we can only aim high here. That's all. So.
Well, thank you for what you do, Roscoe. I don't think we talk about secondhand cars enough, and I think.
Thank you.
I get questions all the time on my socials about secondhand vehicles, and I think learning about things like battery health checks, interviewing people like Nathan Gore Brown, and learning about Pickles and Mannheim and how to navigate all that, or how to look at sites like yours. It's just really important to demystify that, because everyone's kind of potentially sold an ICE car before or bought an ICE car, but it's just, and it's not even that much more that they've got to think about, just a battery health check. But I think there's fear around it and worry about the battery
Absolutely, yeah.
life.
And we realise it's 2 or 3 years behind the new car market, and so much focus, and then all those cars are going to come to the second-hand market. So all the same questions are going to be out there, and there's going to be so much more information required when all those cars start coming onto the second-hand market. We're just going to be flooded, and we just philosophically decided to step up out of our own box into the broader market and say this needs a boost, this needs more information, this needs more knowledge. So we thought, let's get out there and promote the whole used EV market rather than just our own marketplace. So as we build up slowly but surely, that was the plan. So thank you for joining us and sharing. Hey, and guess what? You now own a used EV. I'm sad to say, the day after you bought it, you're now a proud owner of a used EV.
I'm sure it lost thousands of dollars when I drove it off the lot.
Thanks, Sarah. And can you come back next time? Can you come back
Absolutely.
another time? Thanks a lot. Good to see you. Bye-bye. That's Sarah Aubrey from Electrify This, and you can catch her on her channels on YouTube. She's talking everything about her batteries, her experiences with upgrading our house. She's talking about saving energy, driving new EVs, and more longer content on the EVs she's reviewing now. Fantastic stuff. And now she's got an EV of her own to compare it to. That's going to be more interesting. But more about that later. But what a huge week already in January in the used EV world. What a huge week already. And so much has happened, but that must mean it's time for breaking news. So it wasn't even 12 hours after last week's show when we got this email. The sad news that Electrify, everything electric in Sydney in 6 weeks' time would be postponed until September. And you might remember, well, we'd had a pretty good chat about it last week. And, well, this is what we said. We're going to see everybody at, hopefully, everything electric this year. It's coming up already in 6 weeks' time. And again, I'm not sure what sort of role. We're not going to have a stand, but we will be there in some way, shape or form. We're 100% supporters. In fact, we're 120, 30, 50% supporters of this, because I've come to the conclusion that, yeah, it's about cars and accessories and test drives and quirky technology. But for me, it's now, after a few years, it's about the people. And looking around a hall of 30, 20,000 people and going, we're not in this alone. No matter what you see and feel and hear, you can come to this church of EVs and you can sit and you can be with people that feel exactly the same way as you. And, well, 12 hours after that, unfortunately, Dan Caesar, CEO, had this to say.
On behalf of Robert Llewellyn and the rest of the Fully Charged Show Limited team, this special episode is an important update for our Australian audience and especially for those of you in New South Wales. Regrettably, and for the very first time after 22 fully charged exhibitions globally in 7 years, the Everything Electric team has taken the difficult decision to defer its Sydney show by 6 months to September. As you'd expect, this is not a decision that's been taken lightly, and there are numerous reasons why we've taken it.
So, yeah, we were really looking forward to it like everything else. And, of course, naturally, we were disappointed straight away. But, well, we are still 150% behind support Everything Electric. They still represent the core of this industry. They've done so much work. We are everything that they've done has supported this industry here in Australia so much. And we are looking forward to September now, as they say, bigger and better. We understand the commercial reasons behind it. And look, if there's just not enough support and commercial bucks to spend on, well, that's just the way it goes. And that's the reality in this sort of situation, this sort of climate. And yeah, very disappointed. But yeah, we're looking forward optimistically till September now. And perhaps that speaks to our next bit of news, because we have a feeling that although Tesla were really supportive of Everything Electric last year, they were in there at Homebush in Sydney doing the launch of the Model Y last March. And then down in Melbourne doing the launch of the FSD, we have a feeling, we have a sneaking suspicion they weren't going to be there. So maybe some of the other OEMs that just couldn't justify it as well. But yeah, it's tough getting a dollar out of Tesla for marketing. It's just not in their interest. So this bit of breaking news, if you dig deeper and you are looking to buy a Tesla, a Model 3, if you look deep on the website, you see offers like this all the time come up. Rather than discounting the Model 3, these sorts of deals I'm happy to bring to you. If there's any way you can get yourself a good trade-in, a better trade-in price, and you're looking for a new Model 3, they're offering a $30,000 trade-in bonus available to March 26. So they'll appraise it, give you an offer, then add $3,000 to help them sell Model 3s as well. So there's all sorts of deals. And as we've said before, we're happy to support all aspects of the EV market, the used EV market, and anyone that's got an offer, any deal, anywhere, any place, anything that helps push this market along, we are right behind. But now it is probably one of my favorite parts of the show already after a few weeks, and that is the inbox, the EV inbox. Every week we're getting a lot of correspondence already through Facebook, through email, through the website itself. And this is a story we've been telling for a couple of weeks now about Wayne, who's just sold his Polestar 2. So a good news story here. He says in the email that he got a result. AmazingEV didn't provide the buyer, but we worked along with him. And you've seen maybe in the last couple of weeks, we've worked along with him to promote the car, talk about the Polestar 2. What a wonderful used car it is. What a wonderful first car it was. I think he's moving on to something newer as well, but he's got a deal. So happy to tell the story of a good news story that someone's got a result. But if you're looking to sell your car, if you're looking to list, the barcode's there, scan that. The QR code's there, scan that right up there. The QR code's there, scan that. You'll go straight to the AmazingEV website. You can list your car there, and there's a free offer in the links down below for a free coupon, normally $29.95, but we'll list it for free, and we'll work with you to promote that car right across our channels and on the site as well. The next story came from, again, another successful EV buyer, this time a Nissan Leaf buyer. Paul sent us a query about a month ago now. It was a bit out of my lane. I'm not a Leaf expert, so he had some questions about a particular Leaf he was looking for. Always happy to help him try and find what they're looking for as well. If it's not listed on the site, we'll go looking, we'll hunt around. We contacted Ant Day, who's on a couple of Facebook groups with Leaf Facebook groups, and he's my go-to guy in Perth. Ant, if you're watching, hello. And he was able to chat to Paul and just give him a bit more update, a bit more news on what was going on in his mind, give him some opinion and some feelings about what he wanted. But Paul came back to us this week and said he's found the right car. He's found a Nissan Leaf exactly what he wants. So we were thrilled to bits because he contacted Kilowatt Cars. Now, we haven't got an affiliation. We haven't spoken to Kilowatt Cars, but looks like they're stepping up their game to import Nissan Leafs direct from Japan. Good ones, the ones that they're proud to back. I don't know Russell. Hope we can chat to Russell. There's a shout out to Kilowatt Cars if you're looking for a Leaf, because they're going to bring one in from Japan for you. It's going to be checked. It's going to be good. And that sort of fills a bit of the void that the Good Car Company did. They were with us for a while. They no longer did, but some of the Good Car Company Leafs are still highly regarded and getting good prices on the used EV market. It's hopefully Russell can fill that gap, and another happy EV owner with Paul. So as I say, any way it can happen, any way you can get yourself into an EV, we are thrilled to bits. Next story we are happy to chat about is this one came through Facebook, and I'm around in and out Facebook. You can find me there as well if you want to have a chat. This one I probably chipped into a bit of give it an opinion on. People putting a search out, what should I buy? I'm looking for this sort of criteria, this sort of category. John said we want to buy, but we've only got 32K, no older than 2023, 400K. So perhaps an impossible combination. All things given, I went back and said I'd suggested the original Ioniq and perhaps the original Kona. Both of those cars I went hunting for and found them on the internet. And again, good pricing. The Ioniq is a fantastic car. Ask anybody. It's a bit Corolla-ish in design and feel, even for 5 years old now. But great reliability, great range, not up to what he's looking for, but good deal, good battery quality, good battery health all around. Everyone who's owned one of these is having a great experience, and that's a good price. It's probably maybe 25 out the door. That's starting to get a nice deal. Also, the Kona probably a little bit higher than what he wants, but again, great car, a bit more modern in style. This one's got the range he's looking for all around. Either of these cars would make a fantastic proposition as a first used EV or a first EV outright. This is the sort of thing we're chatting to people, and these are the sorts of things we're recommending. So great to hear those sorts of messages. Keep them coming through. And while we've got it, Joe, thanks for joining us. Tesla Wire, thanks for joining us again, guys. Mrs. Amazing, thank you for watching. It's great to be here and great to bring this to you because it's just a lot of fun on a Wednesday night for me. Then on Australia Day, I had a very exciting and interesting listing. And, it's still a small business and we're getting them through and we chat to most people. But we had this listing for a used EV ute. And, those who watch know that I'm not a big ute fan. I'm not a big ute fan. Sarah's not a big ute fan. But this is the first used EV ute that we've seen on our marketplace. And there's not many around if I had a good skim around. This one is a beautiful car. It's been kitted out for camping. It's up in the Blue Mountains. It's had a leisurely life, not as a rugged four-wheel drive ute or a tradesman's vehicle. It's had a nice luxury lifestyle as a camper, set up with all the gear. We love this car. A guy called Daniel listed it with us, and I always, of course, email everybody now. The business is small. We email everybody that is listing with us. We chat to them. We thank them for the listing. We ask them if there's anything more we can do because we think they're better photos and we can make a little bit of video for them to promote on our social media. So I put that out to Daniel and he came back to me on, it was Australia Day. And what's more Australian than listing a EV ute on Australia Day? But I was thrilled to bits because this is a great result and it's starting to head to the direction that we want it to go in terms of electrified utes. There'll be more to come and they'll be expensive, but first time I've seen a deal like this, 35 odd grand for an EV ute. It's starting to get into the ballpark. And the beautiful thing about this note was I got a note back from Daniel. He told me a bit of the story about why they were selling, what they were looking for. Thanks for helping out. But it's the last line there that really touched my heart. He was stumbled upon us because some of our YouTube videos, that's how he found us. Keep up the good work. They really are informative. So nice to know that the message is getting out there. Nice to know that we're able to help. And I was thrilled to get this listing because it's great to have one of something and we'll get the word out there. So this is going to make a great vehicle for someone. Likewise, he's looking for a XC40 or a C40, one of the earlier gen Volvo EVs. And if anyone's got one of those, by all means, let us know because we'll put you in touch. He's up in the Blue Mountains. And just as an aside, again, I had a look at Daniel's website, canista.com.au. He is an architect. I, again, never met the guy before Monday. And have a look at his website if you want some architectural help in the Blue Mountains because a beautiful site. And if I see a portfolio of work like that, I know it looks like quality and it's an outstanding website. So thanks, Daniel. Yes, if it sounds like we're having a love affair, I love this car. I love the listing. And I'm prepared to put some of my anti-ute narrative to one side at the moment. But this is the sort of direction I'd like to see and I'd like to keep going. And so thanks again, Daniel. Really appreciate that. We're starting to get some information now about the used EV sales from last year. We had a quick look a couple of weeks ago, but hot off the press today, and I can give you a bit of a glimpse of the EV sales for last year. I think we'll do some more work on this as the month goes by. Next couple of weeks, we're going to do a little bit more on this one because we've got some This is the data that we follow on the used EV market, and this is the annual report for 2025. It's a big, comprehensive report put together by AutoGrab for the Australian Automobile Dealers Association, the AADA. And so we get this, and the carve out for EVs is incredibly good. They've got a disproportionately high amount of data. Helps me. There's lots of other data out there, but AutoGrab have been consistently counting the numbers of the whole EV and the whole used market for as long as I can remember. So it's nice to see this summary. And as you can see up the top, 2,316,000 used cars sold in Australia in 2025. That's a little bit down, but marginal compared to last year. What's interesting is the split between dealer and private is pretty balanced, whereas private was up a bit previous year, but we expect around 50-50. The important numbers down below, straight for the EV market. That's my takeout, is that off a pretty small base of sort of 1%-ish last year, the market's up to 1.5, up 60%, up to 33,610 EVs, used EVs sold on the second-hand market. And they're counting everything from listings and sales off all the marketplaces around Australia, picking up dealer cars, private cars, everything. We're happy with this data. We keep reporting it. There's some anomalies, but we're happy that this is pretty consistent. It's a great result. Sure, off a pretty small base, there's no doubt about that. But that's why we're in this business, because this is only going to grow, and we are confident it's going to grow strongly as the new car market, as the new EV market grows. This is just going to grow incredibly, and we're looking for a doubling this year, I hope, to a number that gets close to the 2% that they're experiencing over in the UK. They're over 2% now, and that's where we're aiming for, and that's where we're going, and that's what we love being part of. Sure, the disappointing parts are petrol sales are only down 4% at this stage, and yeah, that's, we'd hope to see some sort of improvement there, and yeah, it is a bit disappointing that we're only seeing sort of 4% drop, but diesel 0%, really disappointing. I guess would have loved to seen a much bigger take. Hybrids, we're seeing in pure hybrids, that's the old-fashioned hybrids, there's a lot on the road and there's a lot being sold, and they're up 40%. But plug-in hybrids still, again, very small market and a good increase, 21%. I'd say probably with the way the trends in new cars are going, we'll probably see more of a rise in plug-in hybrids in the next year or so as well. I'd probably see some pretty high growth in the plug-in hybrids market as well. That's not where we're aiming our focus at. We're aiming fairly and squarely at used EVs and used EVs only. But yeah, we'll talk more about that again. So used EVs is where we think it's at, and that's where we're staying fairly and squarely. So that gives you a bit of a summary. I think we're going to do a deeper dive into the full report in the next couple of weeks as well. There's a lot of data there about depreciation, about days to sell, and we'll compare that to the used petrol market or the used diesel market. There's a lot of information and a lot of bullshit out there about what the market is doing in terms of depreciation, days to sell. We'll get this data out to you, I think, because it just paints a great picture of comparing exactly what's happened with the used market for petrol and for EV. So that's it for this week. And next week, we've got Graeme Manietta from Oz Electric Vehicles coming on. And Graeme's talking about the work he does. And look, he's been restoring cars since before I even realized they're electric cars, renewed batteries, upgrading, conversions. He's based up in Queensland. He's going to talk about batteries and keeping old EVs on the road. There's still huge demand for Nissan Leafs, and with guys like him that help to keep them going, giving them second and third lives. Can't wait to speak to him next week. We'll take you out on some of those smaller SUVs. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Hal. Thanks, Stan. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Mrs. Amazing. Thanks, H2 Rider. Anyone that can join us, let us know. We'll get the word out, and we'll be back next Wednesday to talk to Graeme. Thanks for joining us. I'm Roscoe, and we'll see you next time. Can we do it?